understand. And also the budget, we have to understand. When you look at the preference, the basically unlimited. That is the where we need the economic understanding how to manage the limited resources with unlimited one. So the preference is unlimited, assume, and the budget is limited. So how to manage these resources with unlimited? So that economics, here we consumer side try to understand how balance, how optimize the consumer satisfaction. And so here, two key approaches we learn or we introduce. The one is the cardinal utility, where we assume the satisfaction can be measured. The other one, ordinal utility theory, where they assume can't measure, but the ranking with that. And both approaches of right now, the currently used policymakers for different ways as an instrument to measure their policies, how it affects to the society, especially the consumer side, even tax subsidies and all the things. Even the government take whatever the shock happen. In addition, reveal preference and some other approach also there. In this class also, we mainly look at that the ordinal utility approach. Starting, we already last time discussed how we derive total utility, there how to get marginal utility curves, and also we did practical exercise as a case, derive the demand also. And, when you look at the cardinal utility approach, so here the marginal utility function goes like this. There is the positive slope and the negative slope and the negative, the marginal utility. There at this point start the diminishing marginal return. So what is diminishing marginal return important? We have to understand a law of diminishing marginal return or marginal utility. At that stage, not the increasing marginal return or not the negative marginal return, the diminishing marginal return where I show the negative slope side, if the consumers or rational people take decision. Last time I explained why the positive side, positive slope side, or increasing marginal return and the negative marginal return, why consumers don't take decision. So those we discussed the last time. So this is very important law of diminishing marginal utility or return in that case. So with that, we tried to discuss last time how the consumers balance when they choose, they buy different goods with given resources, in this case, the income and the given prices. So there we found that the optimal condition, what we call first order condition, in other words, or necessary condition, this happen. Consumers try to balance the marginal utility per dollar when you buy each items. So give that one. If this happen, is not the condition satisfied, then the consumers buy more from X and less for Y, and automatically adjust to this condition. There are goods and services, the marginal utility per dollar is equal. If the number of goods was N, this also go up to like the N equal N. So that's the important condition. And in that condition, the last time we, I think, discussed this table also. There you can see the two good case. these two, you can see the condition. So consumers select the basket, choose the basket, these two equal. So here you can see the 3, here also 3, which means equal. In that way, the one basket, like I put a label, when you buy from X 3 unit and from Y 4 unit, X from 3, from Y 4 unit, that condition, the first order condition, is satisfied. So, but there is another basket here, the same condition satisfied, because they are also per dollar marginal utility equal both cases. That basket I label as B. You can see from X, the 5, Y also 5. That basket also in this table, both 5, 5 by the first order condition satisfied. And now the problem is then how we identify the consumer goes for which basket. So that is the challenge right now. Because the both basket, the first order condition satisfied. For that, we have to look at the budget or income level of the consumer, what income the consumer has. Assuming the last time also I took, let's say, $50 is hand, $50 in hand. Now look at the $50, which basket consumer can buy or affordable. The first basket, if you look at how much we have to spend, the cost or expenditure, the basket A, here by 3, the price is PX $2, PY $10. So that basket cost $46. The basket B cost here 10, here $50, $60. But your hand, you have $50. In that way, you have to satisfy with the basket A. So then you decide to buy basket A. Because not a stable basket B, the budget, the income. But there are ways to consumers go for that, with the credit and go for. That of course what happened, you consume what future earning. So I don't know how long it goes. Now as a country, if you try to go that like, you can see the result, the one of the best example, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka always try to do that. It's related, if you remember, the economic principle number 6, number 7. The living standard depend on what we produce, our productivity. So what you earn is $50, but you try to get the basket $60 equal dollars. So in that way, what you have to get the credit, and this will continue. At the end, individual, you can see, lead to suicide. And many microfinance clients, that's happen, and they don't know how to handle that way. And as a country, you can see one of the world good example now, Sri Lanka as a country, suicide in that way. So using this future earning, even not the future earning, future generation money, loan taken from other countries and consume half of the corruption, of course, and we try to enjoy the current status. And then now you can see the country already suicide, and the people no option. They try to jump from the ship and try to migrate. So that situation you can see as a country also the case. Now, the second approach, the ordinary literacy approach, we have to understand the two instruments. One instrument is indifference curve, and the other one is budget line. So we started last time with the indifference curves. First, we try to understand what is indifference curve. So there are the indifference curves I explained the last time, and say the different combination of good, or maybe different basket, A basket, the B basket, or on the line, C basket, whatever the basket, get the same level of satisfaction. That's what we join in those lines. If you draw a line, we call difference curve. Same utility, the individual utility. So different, the basket, same, that connecting those points, we draw curves, that curves we call indifference curve. So now indifference map, if you, that is also interested. The V, if that this direction moving away from the origin, it's a higher satisfaction, higher preference. Each individual like to go further like this direction. Yes. So away from, both goods are imperfect substitution. Different goods, if you take these two axes, maybe different way, but so many everywhere, not in each and every basket, there must be indifference curve. Even I can't draw here the noise space, and everywhere here between indifference curve. Repression, satisfaction. Going to origin away from the moon, move away from the origin, higher the satisfaction. That's what we have to understand. And you can increase in satisfaction this direction, that's what we do. And also we try to understand strict preference, the weak preference, and indifference also. Symbol also, the different concept to use. If you use this symbol, we call preference, which means the X prefer strictly to bundle Y. Two basket, let's say the Y and X. So that particular consumer, if you use that, prefer strictly to X. If you use this symbol, if you notice, that's called indifference, which means whatever basket X or Y buying, no preference, both same satisfaction as a consumer you get. And this last one is the weak preference. You can see the this preference side and the strict preference together. It doesn't mean that there is any preference. Either way also can go. So that we call weak preference. So the properties also there, and here the indifference curve, like if you look at x1, x2, x3 are indifference, so same indifference curve. If we add some z like here, you can say strict preference, z always prefer x and y, and this order you can see. That's the cardinal utility. You can see order, and yeah, that is the fixed to indifference curve. In that is understand the preference or satisfaction. That way you can see the move in this direction and the satisfaction, which means the X is the most preferred bundle. Those things we discussed. Also, we discussed the properties of indifference curve last time. The main property, what we discussed here, they never cross indifference curve, but here you have to understand the same person and the same time, the same goods if you take. The different person, because they are preference difference, could be like that. The same person, same time when you take the consumption, and it's not happen. Why it's not happen? If you look at the A and B, if you use the symbol B, always prefer to A. But according to this, A and E are indifference. B and E are also indifference. Can't be happen this kind of situation. And also, the higher the bundle, the higher the preference. In that way, this positive slope indifference curve also on. And here, thick difference curve also another. If you look at the two bars in the both edge, so it must be the different satisfaction. It can't be this also, but most probably in the exam, when I ask you to draw in the, not to take the properties, sometimes maybe you are thinking I can't see, or sometimes you can't see, you draw and color the indifference curve. In that way, you get the some -5 marks. Don't forget it. Here also sometimes by mistake, you draw cross indifference curve, and they are also even not related to that answer, deduct 5 marks. So keep in mind, I'm not going to ask you the properties, but when you draw, when you answer the question, don't forget those properties. The other most important thing is the slope of the indifference curve. If you get the indifference curve like this, the slope is one of the most important things. So I think today is a very few attendance. Must be the long week. So then I will stop a little early also, around 2:30. If someone hurry, keep in mind, I'm not going until 3 o'clock. I found that very few attendance, or some of you call me also whether we have classes. But the thing is, it's originally arranged, I have to do. So now if you look at the indifference curve, the slope is very important. Slope, what we call MRS, the marginal rate of substitution. So if I draw an indifference curve like here, two goods, we can say this side, let's say maybe the consumption good. Let's say this side capital good, or whatever good we can take. Or X and Y also no problem. Now here the point, the slope is we call MRS. MRS, the marginal rate of substitution. So with about the substitution, if you want to buy more from the capital good, you have to give up some from substitute, or all about the substitute, willingness to substitute. So that is, you can see, if you, it's a trade-off here, definitely. And the opportunity cost also there. So this slope is say margin. Now, let's say if you given the utility function, let's say two goods you consume. How do you find the MRS? First, you have to find the marginal utility of X, the marginal utility of Y. Then you can find the MRS given the utility function. That is mu X divided by mu Y. Now let's say example, the utility function, I'll give an example, let's say 2x, 3y, 2. It is the utility function. Now, what I need from you, in the exam also one question I'll give you. From this, you find the MRS. So I gave you how to do that. First, find the marginal utility of X. You know how to differentiate, I teach you. And Y. You can find MRS, mu X divided by mu Y. So I'll give you 2 minutes, or maybe 3 minutes. Then you can find. I hope you understood. If not, please let me know. That is another word, of course, if you get the consumption possibility curve, and we also look at the budget slope of the budget line, we use the term ERS, economic rate of substitution. Economic rate of substitution. So that's we consider as the constraint when you increase your satisfaction. If at the country level, if you look at, we can say increase your welfare, people's welfare. This is the example I give you. Income 100, price of X 200, sorry 20, price of Y 25. So that given the budget line, and we found the ERS 0.8, the budget line, I think you draw and BD. So how this get the slope. And we will see different way the for example, policy, government imposed tax or price increase or subsidies, how we use this tool to analyze, to understand people welfare and the people behavior in terms of consumption. Now here, before that, we look at the three possibilities. If you look at the point A, this is the within the budget set. If expenditure is less than income, here the point A. B, that is the optimal consumers, rational consumers use. Expenditure equal income. C, not enough expenditure, greater than income. If someone, like I explained before, try to reach this point B, you need the credit and the loan, and that happened. As a country also, we can see Sri Lanka try to reach like that, okay, without enough money income. So at the end, you can see that as a country, we already suicide situation like that. Now, this is the budget line I show you, we did, and this is the expenditure on good X. This is the expenditure on good Y. This side income. So that we did discuss. And now look at this, how change the budget line due to different shock or policies or changes. Now, the original budget line, okay, let's say what happened in the income change. Income increase or decrease, certain constant. Now, previous example is the income what we get $100. Let's say income increase or decrease with the given prices, PX and the PY given prices. That is the example we took. Now, let's say the money income increase from 100 to 100. The budget line shift parallel, not slope the economic rate of ERS, same ERS. Income drop, for example, if the government imposed like now, like about 36% income tax kind of thing. Definitely the people, the portability budget line shift that thing. So the policymakers has to understand those things when they analyze. The proportionate change in the prices. The prices change in the same proportion, increase or decrease the same proportion. Nothing happened to ERS. Of course, you can understand, see. Same ERS, like previously, budget line, shift parallel, right or left. So that's happened, the proportion change. And this proportion change in the price, maybe one good price not change, the other good change, like kind of situation. The budget line rotate, depend on which side this change. Now, for example, here, the price of X increase, the budget line rotate the clockwise. Price decrease the price of X, budget line rotate anti-clockwise. So that happened. Sometimes the price of Y also different proportion change, and the this axis also it depend on. So you have to be aware of that one. But the point is here, if this happened, disproportionate change, ERS also change. That you have to understand. Now, with that, another few Example, if you look at, say, y and x too good here. Y here and x here. If the government imposed tax only, not direct tax, only let's say on X, government impose tax on X, 50%. In that way, what happened to the budget line? Let's say the original budget line. If let's say 50% tax imposed, in the new budget line, rotate clockwise, come like here. Let's say another example. The government lets you buy certain amount, some goods like that, without tax, normal price. After you buy level, let's say some amount here, up here X1, you can buy without tax. Let's say 10 units, 10 kilos of rice. So if you buy more than that, you have to pay 50% tax. So in that, the budget line become kick here, come up to the same point, and after that, so in that situation, the budget line like that. Similarly, let's say government or even the private business say if you buy more than additional, give subsidy. Subsidy in the sense of 50% price reduce. That kind of marketing strategy is also there. In that way, in the budget line, after it's become like that. So after you buy more than, apply half price and the budget line like that. So whatever the policy introduced, accordingly, something happened to the budget line, you can understand, you have to understand to analyze the effect of the policy changes. Now, another example, let's say government give a subsidy or something, since people have malnutrition, and food subsidy. Coupon given free of charge, can buy certain amount, let's say 5 units can buy free of charge. So in that way, the budget line become up to this point, since you get the free of charge, means let's say other goods. The budget line up to this point is come like that. So after that, it's apply normal, so kind of budget line. Without coupon, if you give the cash subsidy, maybe used for any purpose, the budget line as it is, the cash you can use. If you give the coupon, only this happen, because that coupon you can't use for any other purpose. Only food you can use. Now, like the pre-education also something like that. If you have a child, up to this one, you don't need to pay for children pre-education. So, what I try to explain, whatever the policy treasury introduce or whatever the market changes thing, it reflects the budget line, you can draw and you can do the analysis. So different thing, like giving discount also, some items you can look at through the budget line. So I hope you understand. And with that, look at the next. Now we learn thing, difference curve and the budget line. Difference curve and the budget line. Now we have to understand how the consumers in optimal equilibrium point. Now, if you look at the practical way of yourself, maybe when you buy, you try to maximize your utility or satisfaction. If I use the utility, maximize. Maybe some of you try to minimize cost. Minimize cost. So minimize cost means if you take the budget line, here you reduce the expenditure and move this direction. You try to move to this direction. That's the minimize cost, minimize your expenditure. Or maybe sometime like some goods and some people try to maximize utility, which means you try to move higher in difference curve and try to move this direction. Move this direction. Now look at the, when you try to maximize utility, you are not free to do that. You have a constraint. You have a constraint because you fight with your budget constraint. Now, if I draw here the budget line, since your money income, let's say $100, though we wish to move, let's say the utility level I1 to I2, you can't go. Either you have to consume at this point A, or you have to consume this point B. With the given budget, you can do only that. So you can see if someone consume point B, expend $100, but they get the utility level, let's say 10 amount of satisfaction. Same money expended, you can get 20 amount of satisfaction. So the rational consumer in that way go and achieve this point efficient consumers. Now, if you look at the public sector and private sector, that they expending money, most probably the private sector, public sector at this point, one thing is not efficient in terms of consumption, other thing also, they corruption and other reason, their satisfaction, they look at their satisfaction, not the satisfaction of the people. So maximum level of satisfaction, the money, they don't get that. What I try to say here, reach to this point A, you can see the slope of the budget line and equal slope of the difference curve. That's what happened. ERS equal MRS that point. MR is the slope of the indifference curve. ERS slope of the budget line. Now look at some consumers or even the same consumer sometime, like in this case, try to minimize expenditure. But them keep in mind, given satisfaction, given level of satisfaction. At the end of the day, they have tried to maintain the given level of. So if replace the satisfaction indifference curve goes like that, that is given indifference curve. Let's say 30 units of satisfaction, they try to get. Now, when you minimize the cost expenditure, either this particular consumer can consume this point A or B even, or this point E. Now, when you look at here, A, B, C, all the point, the same amount of satisfaction. But look at the money income. Let's say the E point here, the $100. This budget line, let's say $100. We imagine two consumers. Someone is consuming A, then the third satisfaction is 200. The rational consumer of price to get with the $100. Now, again, I look at the private sector and the public sector. Most probably the public sector doing like point A and B with all the commission and other thing happen. Get the satisfaction, they spend more money because inefficiency also there. Allocate to inefficiency. So the B is the optimal point. There, decide how many you need buy from X, how many you need buy from Y. Now here, the magic here, whatever you do, maximize utility or minimize expenditure, condition at the end, you reach same condition. Now look at here also, slope of the indifference curve equal slope of the budget line. So the same condition. It doesn't matter as a consumer, you try to maximize your utility given budget or minimize your expenditure given satisfaction. Because ultimately you reach same optimal level. Exercise we call duality. With the maximization or minimization, you get the same result. So with that, I hope you understand. You know how to get the ERS, that is the PX divided by PY, that is the ERX. MRS, you know how to get mu X divided by MUY. So that is the condition we call tested condition. What we are looking for, get the optimal result. Maximization or minimization, whatever the optimal result. Now, this is the last point today. Let's say you have a utility function like this. O X 2 Y 2. So your utility function suppose like that. And the price of X, let's say $2. Price of Y, let's say $5. And let's say the money income you have $40. With this situation, you find as a consumer the best bundle. Here, the point A, from Y and X, how many unit from X, how many unit buy, from Y, how many unit buy. So that is the most optimal, the best bundle the consumer can buy given budget. For that, what we have to look at condition, first order condition, we have to ERS equal MRS condition. So that is satisfied. With that, you can find, stop this point also. Next week when you start, show me the result and how many unit buy from Y, how many unit buy from X also. And I will continue from next week at this point. So for this point, I will stop and enjoy your long weekend and have a nice weekend again. Okay, if you have still any question, I can wait a few minutes. Otherwise, I also leave the meeting. So thank you very much. Any question? Okay, look like no questions, then bye. See you next week.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thanks. Bye-bye.